Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm Dr. Brooke, the anti-inflammatory coach, and I have a treat for you today. It's pretty hot and sweaty here in Kauai, so I just was out in the ocean, but I'm welcoming everybody because we have a big treat for you. I have a friend of mine, Dayna, and her name, Dayna Hrovath, and she is let me just read the bio for you, and let me pull her up on the screen so you can see how amazing she is. Here she is, Dayna. Dayna, right here, she's been a dermatology PA, physician's assistant, since 2005, and she loves working with people to help their skin issues, and she finds that very rewarding. Now, a lot of us in this community are here as anti-inflammatory. We need some anti-inflammatory help, and we know that psoriasis is a big part of that kind of inflammatory process. So I'm really excited. So she says, a few years ago, I started having health issues that weren't being adequately addressed by conventional medicine. I turned toward alternative methods and was amazed at what can be done to actually improve a condition instead of covering up the symptoms. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there? That's what we're all about here. So I'm so excited. This isn't what we're taught in our medical training. That's right, Dayna. We are not taught that. And we're barely taught anything about lifestyle factors and supplements. So she says, I wondered how many people with psoriasis felt the same way and feeling frustrated and alone. She said, I want to give people another option, help them improve their skin and overall health, empower them without harmful medications. So this is absolutely what we're all about on this channel. We want to make sure that everyone is trying their best to do things naturally first, and then you're part of our team, Dayna. This is just, I'm so excited to have you. I recently met you in one of my groups, and you just blew me away with what you're doing. And I knew that it would be a great gift to have you come and talk with my people. So first off, welcome. And I know you have a little bit of presentation, but I wanted to see if, you would like to add anything about how you came to all of this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's just been a real pleasure getting to know you in our other community that we are in together. And just so many people are just really plagued with ongoing inflammation and autoimmune conditions and just being, told like, well, that's just what your future is going to be. You got to deal with it. And yeah, it's not a good answer, And I definitely had my blinders on with conventional medicine as, that's what is out there. Those are our options. That's what we do. And there's nothing else you can do about it. But yeah, until having to find out the hard way that that's so not true. Yeah, that's what really opened my eyes to other possibilities.
I think the thing that I love about you the most is that, and also the thing that we have in common, is that we both come from Western medicine, and all of the things that we've been taught were not actually the things that ended up working for bringing things down. It was more of these lifestyle changes. And, it's when we tell a patient these lifestyle things, it sounds almost too easy. And that's why it's a good idea to have people like us as coaches to kind of help you along and really put the rubber to the road. So I'm excited for the information that you're going to share. I also have a couple free gifts that she is giving to us, everybody. So you may want to wait till the end for that, and I will post them in the comments as well. We'd love to hear from you. So if you are out there, say hi so that we can say hi to you. Hey, Gina. Hi, Tracy. It's great to see you. Okay, so Dayna, I'm going to flick it over to you, and let's add the your deck up on in, and I will see you soon. Tell me all about it.
Okay. Are we ready? Are the slides showing up?
Yep.
Okay.
They look amazing.
So we're going to talk about the 3 things making your psoriasis worse and what to do about it. And just a quick disclaimer, because we got to do those things. This is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. But here's what we are covering today. So the nightshade nightmare, the lectin letdown, and the topical toxin trap. Plus, you're going to learn about what to do about them. And if you're really serious about improving your itchy, flaking rash, then let's be present together and silence the notifications on your device. Shoot down those questions so that we can go over them together, and stick with us till the end for an empowering fix. So you already heard pretty much about my story, but I've been a dermatology PA for over 17 years, mostly treating people through the conventional medicine lens until my eyes were opened. And then I looked into alternative methods, and I did functional medicine training and really wanted to bring what I learned to help myself out there in the world for people with skin conditions, because treating people with psoriasis has been really a great passion of mine, because psoriasis really just affects how you feel about yourself, your confidence, you're itchy, you're flaking, you're miserable. And not only is it, affecting the outside, it affects the inside. And I didn't love the options that I had to treat people with psoriasis. So I wanted to kind of open other people's eyes to other options. And so I wanted just to give you a little quote from someone I've worked with. And this is from Corey in Pennsylvania. Her knowledge regarding her profession is incredibly vast, and it is clear that her passion is to provide the best possible care. Overall, she is one of the most caring and down-to-earth medical professionals I've ever encountered. And just hearing those words, it makes me feel so good. It warms my heart, and I'm glad that I'm able to give people, that great experience. But I'm sure that hearing my story and a testimony is great, but let's get to you and improving your skin. And I do want to quickly go over one thing before we get moving on to what we set out to learn today. And that's just to go over some psoriasis basics. And some of you may be familiar with this, and it's repeat information, but not everyone is. And there are things I want you to know so that you understand why this is a whole body problem and not just your skin, and just so we're all on the same page. So let's start with, what even is psoriasis? And it's a condition from an overactive immune system, and it causes an increased number of T cells in our blood and in our skin, and that causes the skin cells to shed faster, and they pile up on each other. And that builds up and forms those plaques that people get. And you can get these plaques anywhere on your skin, from your scalp all the way down to your feet. And there are many different types of psoriasis, and it also looks different depending on your skin tone. So you often see pictures of Caucasian people with these red plaques with the silvery white scales, but that is not how it looks in darker skinned people. It's more brownish purple type of color. And so sometimes people don't realize that they have psoriasis because it's not how it looks when they see it on the internet. So the next question, how does it become a whole body problem? Well, the inflammation in your body that's causing your skin symptoms, it's also affecting you inside as well. And that causes joint pain and fatigue, and can make you even more prone to heart disease and diabetes. So what are the dangers of not dealing with it? Well, heart disease and diabetes, but also arthritis and metabolic syndrome, high cholesterol, fatty liver, lymphoma, which is a type of cancer, and other autoimmune diseases. Plus, often people with psoriasis have depression and substance abuse disorders just from dealing with their symptoms for so long. So now that you have the basics, you're ready to jump in and see how you can improve your skin with just these 3 steps. So let's get into it. First, number 1, the nightshade nightmare that you never saw coming. So, what are nightshades? They are a vegetable that contains alkaloids, which, when we eat them, that causes inflammation in our body and impairs our digestion. And the most common people are most familiar with are tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, potatoes, but you may not be intolerant to all of those. And this nightshade nightmare really throws people off because they think they're eating healthy. You're eating lots of salads and vegetables, trying to do what people tell you is good. And often psoriasis flares, or at a minimum, just don't see any improvement. And, that's so disappointing. You're trying to do what you think is right. But not only can the nightshades cause your skin to react, but they also contribute to joint pain and stiffness, fatigue, brain fog, among other symptoms. So it's ideal to avoid nightshades for about 4 to 8 weeks and then slowly reintroduce one at a time. And you want to eat a good amount of those when you're reintroducing, like 3 or 4 servings a day of each one for 3 days in a row to really see how you feel. And you're going to experience symptoms if that particular vegetable is a problem for you. And, I find that most people with psoriasis don't respond well to tomatoes and certain peppers and do better just staying away from them long term. So often I get the question, but what about my sauces? I know it's a good tomato sauce is the best, but you can make a no tomato sauce. And I did make you a handout that has a recipe plus a pre-made option with a link that just takes you right to buy it, so for a suggestion of where you could start. And there's also on that sheet some alternatives to potatoes and a full list of nightshades so that you can access those easily. In a study found in Dermatology and Therapy from June 2017, like 52% of people in that study noticed improvement in their psoriasis just by omitting nightshades. That's all that they did. And I just found that really interesting. But along with vegetables, tobacco, that's also a nightshade. And in between it being a nightshade and the toxins from the tobacco products, just really highly recommend eliminating these from your life. People who smoke definitely have a harder time getting their psoriasis to improve than people who don't. So now
That sounds
on, oh, sorry.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
This is kind of amazing to think of, we put salsa on our burritos in the morning. I mean, I'm from Texas, so like our breakfast burrito has salsa. You go to lunch and you have some sort of, sauce that has ketchup or something like that. You have potatoes at dinner with your steak, and you're getting toxin. It's kind of so upsetting to think that something like this, something so simple that you could move out of the diet, could make such a difference. So I know a lot of us out there are eating those types of things and maybe have never thought of pulling that out because, just like you said, it seems like it's healthy.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So let me put you back in there. Yep.
Okay. So now on to number 2, the lectin letdown. But aren't these good for me? Well, you'll find out. So what are lectins anyway? Lectins are a protein and they're found in many plants also, and that can bind to the lining in our digestive tract. And that increases leaky gut, which then contributes to autoimmune disease, plus blocks then absorption of vitamins and minerals that we need. So it's just a whole messy pot. And that causes inflammation. And if you haven't noticed already, psoriasis, it's a disease of inflammation. That's just the bottom line with it. And lectins are found in legumes like beans, peas, peanuts, in grains like wheat, quinoa, and corn, plus the peels and seeds of many vegetables and fruit. So now people say wheat, I tried not eating gluten because that is something that often people will try even before they talk with me, and it didn't help. Well, I have some questions for you. Um, how long did you give it? You need to give it a minimum of 4 weeks, really, to see some beginnings of improvement. And how much did you cheat? Because a lot of times at first it's easy to like, oh, this little bite here and there, it won't matter. And the more you eat it, the longer it takes those effects to get out of your system. And sometimes people don't realize that avoiding gluten is more than just avoiding bread. That gluten can be hiding in random places you would never expect, like deli meat or soups and sauces and dressings. And not everyone with psoriasis is gluten intolerant, but there are many people who are. And this is just one component of many that need to be adjusted for you to love the skin you're in. But I still do recommend doing an elimination diet to see if lectins and gluten are an issue for you. Like we said earlier, you want to avoid these also for 4 to 8 weeks and slowly introduce them one at a time just to see what you can tolerate. Giving a full detail on how to do an elimination diet, that's well beyond the scope of this talk today, plus how to reintroduce everything properly. But that's information that I go through with people whenever they choose to work with me. But that being said, I do recommend trying to go gluten free. Really consider that, because I find that people who continue to avoid wheat and other gluten containing products long term tend to have the best results. Do you find that, Brooke, with other things that you're going through with your clients with autoimmune diseases?
I do. I do. I just like you, I have people that are like, "Oh, I tried to go gluten free or I tried to take certain things out." And it's when I really drill down to it, they've taken it out for like 4 days.
Right.
And I'm like, and then the weekend came and then they had it. They thought, well, I'm being gluten free because I'm eating a corn tortilla with salsa on it, with potatoes in there. Aren't
Yeah.
those vegetables? It's gluten free, Brooke. It's dairy free, and
Hmm.
so we have to drill down, and it's pretty unique to everybody's system too, because I find some people really can't do tomatoes and some people really can't do corn.
Yeah.
And you have to give it that amount of time, Dana, like you're saying, that 4 weeks.
Mhm.
And once you do, it's it's a distinct feeling. And once you have the feeling, then you get it, and you're like, I'm on board. I'm going to do it. But
Right.
sometimes you need help in
Mhm.
order to do that. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and if you are having a lot of GI complaints like gas and bloating, diarrhea, you may also want to check in with your medical professional to be tested for celiac disease. And that's the autoimmune version of gluten intolerance. There is a link between psoriasis and celiac disease, and often people have both. And so to be tested, though, you need to still be eating gluten. So for those results to be accurate, and you wouldn't want to stop the gluten beforehand so that way you know for sure. But after this webinar, you'll also get the second gift that Dr. Brooke was talking about with you that you'll get is just a quick start resource on how to go gluten free. So you want to check that out if you need a little bit more support in that arena. One more thing before we go on to this slide. With lectins, if you're going to eat them, like your beans especially, it's best to soak them first and put them in a pressure cooker. And that will remove as many as the lectins as you can. And it's um, that way you still get the benefits of eating them and without having those lectins that cause problems. For your other vegetables and fruits, remove the peels and the seeds. That can be helpful too. But slow cookers, they don't tend to get hot enough, so they won't destroy the lectins. It would need to be a pressure cooker. You can also try fermenting them. You can get some nice prebiotic benefits that way. And now, last but not least, number 3, the topical toxin trap. And this is the third thing that's making your psoriasis worse. And in my program, I talk a lot about toxin exposure that you have full control over. I'm not talking about the environment that just the out in the smoke, but rather your own personal environment. And we don't have time to go over all that today in this webinar, but I do want to at least go over one topical toxin trap and give you an easy way that you can change your exposure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's your laundry products. You spend 24 hours a day in these. You wear clothes all day that have been laundered with detergents like Tide and Cheer, Gain. And then you're also using fabric softener and dryer sheets, which just add more and more chemicals. And at night, you're sleeping in the sheets that are all laundered with those same products. And people will say, well, it's not like I'm eating them. Well, you kind of are, because your skin is just one big mouth. It absorbs what we put on it. It absorbs what's touching it. And so you might as well be eating it, but, don't really. And I also get asked, these products would be banned if they weren't tested and proven to be safe, right? Well, wrong. Unfortunately, each year an estimated 2,000 around there new chemicals are introduced for use in everyday items, including food and personal care products, prescription drugs, pesticides, lawn care products, and they're not well researched. And manufacturers are not even required to list all the ingredients that are used in laundry products. There's no law that requires products to list chemicals that are in fragrances. And you'll often see, if you start reading the ingredients of different products that you're using, that it will just say fragrance. Like, okay, great. Well, what is that? And so for us in the United States, we're kind of lacking on the safety there, but the European Union, they have legislation that requires products to list, I think, 26 different fragrance chemicals when they're present above a certain concentration that are in cosmetic products and detergents. And we don't do that here. So if you shouldn't use your Downy, I know you love that smell. Everybody does. So what should you do? Well, there are better options, and I really love Truly Free products. They used to be called My Green Fills. Sometimes people know it by that name, but these are the products that we use in our own home, and they have scented versions and unscented versions, and you can buy one jug that lasts and lasts and lasts. It's refillable, and you can get those little refill pouches and you pour it in and you mix it with, you just pour water in too and shake it up, and you've got your detergent. And they have dryer angel instead of dryer sheets. They have a softening rinse. They have all the options that you would need. But the scented version, they're using essential oils instead of toxic fragrances. And also, because we're here today with this webinar, the third gift is a link that will take you right to my e-store to be able to obtain any of these different laundry products. You could get started right away on making some of those simple swaps. And these are some of the products that I just trust the most. And I think that they do a good job as well. So what you're learning today, this is just one part of an entire model that I've put together to improve your skin in my program. And the protocol is called the 3C Psoriasis Protocol. And we have 3 main triangles: calm the gut, clear effects of stress, and clean out toxins. And if you want to get results, you need to do the work on all 3 of those triangles, because if one is imbalanced, then all are going to be imbalanced. We want to have equal representation in all of them. And so in the Calm Your Gut triangle, we focus on the R's: remove, replace, reinoculate, repair, and rebalance. And this is all the work to get that gut happy, because our gut is directly linked to our skin. And for the clear effects of stress triangle, we look at stress reduction activities, how to avoid stressful people and situations, and having to have a supportive community around you is so very important. But there are other things we look at too, like sleep and movement. All these things are super important for our body and skin and our mind. Um, For then the clean out toxins, we look at your personal care toxins, your household toxins, your environmental toxins, as well as gentle detox strategies to be able to remove those that you have built up. But in addition, I have 3 sections in each of those yellow triangles that help you get across the finish line. And once you've done the work and have balanced all of those, you get to love the skin you're in finally. And it just feels so great whenever someone gets to tell me where they're at now. And I want to tell you about Ashley. So she had an itchy, dry, flaking rash that caused her embarrassment. You have psoriasis, you understand what that's like. And it was off and on for many, many, many years. And it was the center of her self-consciousness. It took a toll on her family life and her relationships, her professional career. And she just wanted to cover up and stay home. And she had been through steroid creams, tons of over-the-counter products, went to multiple specialty doctor visits. But here is what I helped her do differently. It helped her know how to go after the root of the issue, not just covering up her symptoms with those creams. She did work on changing her diet, and added a couple supplements in specifically for her, omega-3s and probiotics that her body needed for support. And here's what she has to say after. In the fall of 2021, I met Dayna, and she was different from every other doctor I'd met. She actually listened and wanted to find the root cause of my skin frustrations rather than temporarily fix them. The over and beyond dedication to help me was incredible. With just a few conversations, she was able to determine the cause and came up with a cost-effective and realistic plan. Today, I wake up and tackle the day without worrying about my skin or what others may think. I am more present in my career and a better wife, stepmom, daughter, and friend. Like, oh, wow, this made a huge difference in her life on every aspect. It's just amazing. I just love hearing those stories. And plus, she also told me, this was the first summer in years that she was looking forward to. No more hiding her skin and feeling uncomfortable. She was going to wear shorts and bathing suits and just rock it and not care. But I'm passionate about you having access to that process as well, which is why I've put everything together for you in this fully organized protocol available. It's an online program, and it's called the Psoriasis Solution Program. And I really want to tell you my why behind this program. So, like I said earlier, I just became so frustrated that the only things I had to offer my patients were temporary. They just covered up their symptoms, or if they helped, then they had to be continued forever and all have side effects attached. Plus, I also developed this program so I could extend my reach beyond the people who just come in to see me in my office in Pennsylvania. To teach you how to take care of the issue yourself. I truly want to empower you because you're the one who makes these changes, and it's truly in your hands. You just need someone to help guide you. And I love getting messages like this: "You are my skin savior. I am wearing a tank top for the first time in years. Thanks to you, I love my skin again. Thank you for the psoriasis solution and all the help you've provided for this wonderful community. So I've compiled everything you need to love the skin you're in and put it all inside this psoriasis solution program. So this is what's included, and we do this together for the absolute best way to get clearer skin without harmful medications. And the 10 weekly live sessions with Q&A with me. There will be private group that has support with me and other people who are in the same boat as you. You will have lifetime access to the content, and there will be at least 5 bonuses worth more than your investment in this program. And this is what the investment in your skin and your health, that's what it looks like. Now, if you worked with me one-on-one to do this, the cost would be over $9,549. But I organized this in such a way that you get weekly access to me, plus recorded sessions and more, all for just $14.95. But this one time only, if you join me right now, it's yours for just $12.95. And I really hope that you can join me at that price point because it's such a deal. And to not only that, but to sweeten the deal even further, to make you have success, I have included bonuses. And I'm just going to talk about a couple of the bonuses because some of them are a surprise when you get in the program. But the first one is, you know, we all know that cost and time, that's a factor. And this is why I give these bonuses. And this first one is how to eat healthy on a budget. And it's overwhelming with the idea that healthy food is expensive, and this will help calm your overwhelm and give you budget-friendly tips for eating healthy so you can implement those for the rest of your life. And that, I guess, could save you $50 a week, for the 10 weeks on the program, and you're still going to keep going, but just for that 10 weeks, that's a $500 savings. That's awesome. The second one is to help time. This is the 5-minute skin saving morning ritual. No one has an hour to spend on their skin every morning. And if you do, I'm sure there's something better that you could be doing with that time. But it's not necessary to spend that much time. It just truly isn't. So I will give you a very basic, stripped down skincare plan that you can deploy in the morning in under 5 minutes. And then the third one is this. It's 10% off my e-store products, and it can be confusing trying to figure out what products to buy. And I've done the research for you and only stock my store with high quality products you can trust. And I'm happy to offer you that 10% off discount. And this is for you, for your family, and it could help you save more than $1,000 over time. There's all kinds of things on there. And all of this because I want you to have a similar experience as Aubrey, who says, "My experience with her has been nothing but positive and successful. She is kind, compassionate, understanding, and explained all courses of action to me." So the way I see it, you have a decision to make. You can either focus on optimal health instead of symptom suppression. You can have access to different tests than you would with conventional medicine. You could obtain basic lab levels that are optimal and not just normal. And you'll feel comfortable and confident versus, you could continue with the current costs of copays, deductibles, your medications, the cost of inaction. Things are going to get worse. And the financial implications of those worsening diseases, especially as you're getting more of the internal things like high blood pressure or diabetes, that all just compounds. And a big one is the emotional cost of lost opportunities when you're not feeling confident or not feeling like you have the energy to go do things that you love and want to do. But look, I realize even at this price point, it truly is an investment, but it is time to invest in yourself, and your future. Or if you're someone watching this who has a loved one with psoriasis, it's time to have them invest in themselves or you invest for them. But what is the cost of not acting? If there's one thing I know about now, we are all here in the present. And the future, it's coming. And the longer it goes on, the more whole body symptoms are bound to pop up. And the harder it is to turn that around. So you're never closer to getting on this green line than towards optimal skin health, than you are right now. The more time goes by, the longer it's going to take to turn around that autoimmune response. And in 3 years, you're going to land on one of these three futures. And at no point later in the future will you be any closer to jumping on this green line than you are right now. And this green line is heading you towards optimal health. And the distance between terrible and optimal, that just keeps getting further apart the longer time you go. So the question becomes, what is the optimal result for your skin? And this is what I want to help you achieve. What if you did nothing and you still have itch, pain, flaking, this chronic rash? Well, this system that I have put together to help you get to your idea of optimal, this has been proven and tested and shown to get people the results that they wanted and the results that you want. And that question is still there. I have that question for you. When do you want to get on that green line? If you wait a year, it's only going to get harder. If you wait 3 years, it's going to be even further. It's going to take a lot more time and money and energy to get where you want to be and to fix those other downstream effects. And while you think that if you stay on just the same line you are today, that things will just be a straight path between the present and the future, the truth is, if you do nothing, that compounds over time and you're going to actually go on a trajectory to slide down towards terrible. So back to my question, when do you want to jump and get on that green line? When? So if you're still on the fence, I do think now is the right time and you're never closer to getting on that green line than you are now. And I'm going to make that a little easier for you by giving you a 30-day risk-free guarantee, but that would be minus any testing or supplements. It's money back, no risk to you, so why don't you give it a go? Go ahead, try it, because I believe you've got this and I've got your back. And I'd really like to be of service to you inside the Psoriasis Solution Program. This offer, it's only available for a limited time and only if you are serious about solving this problem. And you're going to be in this cohort with me that starts July 18th. That's just around the corner. And you can take advantage of all the things that you have seen in this webinar and that support from me, all just for $12.95. And this may be the only time I do it live. I want this information out in the world. I do. I want people like you to have this information. I'm considering turning it into a recorded program, what would be without me. And that could help more people around the world whenever they want to get started. But if you want to take action now and have access to me so that I can answer your questions and I can support you in implementing all the things that we talk about, you'll want to take action by July 17th. So thank you so much for joining me. And Dr. Brooke, thank you so much for having me. So what questions does anyone have?
That was super awesome, by the way. And we will field some questions out there. You can put them in the chat. We are streaming on YouTube as well as in the group, the Facebook group. I do, Dayna, have some of the prizes. Would you like me to post those?
Yeah, that would be great. You go ahead and put the links in so that people can have access to those whenever they're ready for them.
Okay, so I am just placing those in. I'll be putting those in as we go. One is the going gluten free. The second one is, well, you can tell us about each of these actually. How about that?
Yeah, sure. So there's the glowing gluten-free one, and there is the 10% off on the e-store. And then there's one that talks about the tomatoes and tomato sauce recipe and different alternatives to potatoes, and just a full list to be able to help you implement some of those harder changes.
Let me get the last one here, which is the laundry, with the links to the laundry. I know that as we, the interesting thing that I find is a lot of times my inflammation people are coming because they're in pain, they're stiff, they have brain fog, they have all of these things that you're talking about when you're talking about the side effects, and then they go, oh yeah, and I have psoriasis. It's like, it's sadly something people feel like they have to live with their, because they've had it their whole life or something.
Right.
And when people experience not having it, it's an absolute change in the quality of their life. So your patients that are like, oh my God, I'm wearing a tank top for the first time. These kinds of things, like, especially in the summer, when we want to be out and you have, flaky, bleedy kind of things. I had a friend that had psoriasis, and my dog, we'd go on a walk and the dog would come over and lick the
Oh,
psoriasis
yeah.
because my dog is trying to help that person. And I was like, oh my God, we got a lot of inflammation here. Um,
Hmm.
it's just, I, I've never had it myself. So it's hard for me to like put my mind around it, but I've taken care of many patients that have it. And it's frustrating. It's embarrassing.
Hmm.
And it's shameful. It's like they don't want to talk about it. And I think that's why it's so important that we're having you come and talk, because by having this as a Facebook Live and a webinar, people can kind of watch it whenever they want in private. They don't have to let anyone know
Hmm.
that they might have this. We're going to leave all of the information about your program. When I was looking at the cost, I was kind of shocked at how cheap it was, because if you break down your program into, what is it, 10 weeks?
Yes.
10 weeks, that's almost like, I don't know, $130 a week. And you're getting access to a physician's assistant each week, and all of her resources. I mean, you can't do that when you're walking into the hospital or to the clinic. There's no way you would pay $130 just to see you. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Right.
And you get access to you for all of this time. You get the the benefit of having the group experience as well, and the support. And I just think it's such a gift that you're giving to the world, and that's why I couldn't not have you come and talk to my peeps, because we're all trying to bring down inflammation, and I'm just glad to know you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just going off of what you said earlier, uh, I about people with psoriasis kind of feeling alone, I don't feel alone, because there are millions of people. I don't have the number in front of me, but I think it's 7 or 8 million people just in the United States with alone that have psoriasis. So it is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, and it's unfortunately there's shame, like, oh, what's on their skin? What do you have? And it shouldn't be that way, because you're not catchy. You're not going to give anyone something, but you're definitely not alone. And if I can help you have your confidence back, that truly just would mean the world to me. And earlier, I think whenever we were talking about those bonuses right at the end about what the different links were, I think I misspoke and said about the 10% off. That is just for our program participants, but you will have the link that'll get you to those laundry products.
That's awesome. I mean, 3 gifts. I love it. I love it. So in the Facebook group, I will put the access to your program so that everybody could learn more about that. And they'll have your Facebook name and everything so that if they have any questions, they can ask you that too.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure on the comments how we're doing. Anybody have any comments out here? I have one person that says Cyndi Lauper also had. So
and Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian.
Those are 2 very famous names.
Yeah, so it's nothing to be ashamed about. And by changing this, it can really change your life. So thank you, Dayna. I really appreciate you coming, and
thank you for having me.
To you, and I will see you soon.
That sounds great. Thank you, everyone. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.